What's up, guys? Welcome back to another live stream. I hope everybody's having a fantastic weekend. I'm actually having a great weekend. So I decided, why not have a live stream and talk about building wealth and three of the favorite assets that I use to build wealth. And then obviously open it up for some questions so that you guys have an opportunity to, ask me some questions. So why don't we go ahead then and I'm gonna get started. Before I jump into those three assets, I do want to remind you guys of that amazing Weeble offer where they're gonna give you up to 12 free stocks, right? When you open up a new Webull brokerage account, they're going to give you up to 12 free stocks. If you're interested in that offer, guys, there's a link down in the description box of the live stream. Click on that link. Go open up your new Webull account today. Go get that free stock. Go get that free money. And guess what? That's a great platform, guys, to be able to do fractional share trading. You can also do automated investing or automatic investing. So if you want to buy, 5 shares of Apple every single week at the same time, you can go ahead and use your Webull app to set that up, and it'll automatically buy that Apple stock for you at the specified time that you want to have it purchased. So, like I said, man, go down in that description box and open up that Webull account today and join my $5 a day investment challenge. All right. Now, having said that, let's just go ahead and dive into these three assets that I've used over the last 20 plus years to build my wealth and get me to financial freedom. You guys know, if you watch this channel for any period of time, I'm a big believer in financial freedom. I believe everybody has the ability to get to financial freedom. It just depends on you, right? The only thing can stand in your way of getting to financial freedom is you, right? So what I like to do when I'm making my videos or doing the live streams, I like to talk to people about what I did because, I'm just an ordinary everyday person just like you are, right? But I found a way. I made a decision, right, and took control of my financial destiny by making that decision. And I think we all can do that. And the three assets that I used predominantly to build my wealth was real estate, stock market, and business. Right? Those are the three asset classes. I like to call them the big three. You guys have heard me talk about these three asset classes in many other videos. Now, there are other asset classes. You got precious metals. You have, antiques, collectibles. It's many others. But really, the one I think that most of us should really focus on is real estate, stocks, and obviously a business. So let's talk a little bit about how I've utilized those three in order to put me in a position to own 100% of my time and control my financial destiny, right? Because like I've always said, guys, wherever we get our income from, right? Whether it be active income or passive income, wherever we get that income from really is where our time is. That's really where our financial destiny is. So if I'm working for somebody, although they may be paying me a great salary, they control 100% of my time and they control my financial destiny because they're paying me, right? I got to trade time in order to get that paycheck, right? So the goal would be take that active income and then turn it into passive income, and that's the journey that I started down more than 25 years ago. As a management trainee in my first job as a banker, I decided, I said, something, I don't want to have to be in banking for the rest of my life. I don't want to work for the rest of my life. I want to be able to enjoy my life and do the things that are most important to me. How in the world can I pull that off? How do I make that happen? And I made that happen by taking my active income and buying these assets that I talk about. Like I said, taking my active income and buying real estate for income, though, not just owning real estate to own it. Own real estate where I can put a tenant in the real estate and get rental income, right? And then I can hold the real estate over time. If it's in a good location, I can hold that real estate and it should go up in value, right? That's an asset, guys. So I would take my money from this active income, right? From my job, my 9 to 5, I would take that income, I would store it away, save it up until I had enough to do what? Put a down payment on a single family home, right? That was my choice of real estate, was single family homes, not duplexes, not tris, not quads, not commercial, but single family homes. And the reason I like single family homes was because I believe, at least in the era I grew up in, everybody had that dream of owning their own home, right? With the white picket fence. Everybody had that dream in the era that I grew up in. So I said, something, if I could buy these homes, and although people may not be able to purchase them right now, they certainly would love to rent them from me and still get a little bit of that taste of having that really nice house with a white picket fence. So that's the reason I decided on single family homes. And I also believed that 1 to 4 family dwellings, whether it be single unit, 2 units, 3 units, or 4 units, those are residential 1 to 4 family dwellings, right? Those are the safest class of real estate to buy. Why? Because people always need somewhere to live. They always need somewhere to live, right? And as long as you buy it in a good location and people have a desire to be in that location, you'll always have a tenant for that property. So I use those single family homes and I would purchase one every couple of years, right? So I would take this active income that I was making from my 9 to 5 job. I would live on less than what I made, and then I would take a part of what was left, and then I would put it over to the side so that I could save up for a down payment. And that's what I started doing. And that's how I built my portfolio. Every couple of years, I would buy another single family home and put a tenant in it. And at the time, I wasn't getting very much cash flow, but I didn't really need the cash flow. What I really needed was a way to grow my net worth. And I knew if I could buy these single family homes in a good location and hold them for 5, 10, 15 years, I knew if I bought one for 200K and I could hold it for 10 years and it could double my money, and now all of a sudden it's worth 400K, guess what I just did? I just increased my net worth by $200,000. And that's the power of having real estate that people have a desire in locations where people have a desire to live, right? And you also get that immediate cash flow from the rental income, right? So that was important too, because I didn't want to be taking money out of my pocket in order to take care of, the property taxes or the property insurance or the mortgage payment. I didn't want to be bringing that money out of my pocket. So that rental income from the tenant paid for all of that stuff. And then I was able to also have a small amount left over every month that I would put in reserve just in case I had any major repairs that needed to be done to the property. But then I just did that over and over and over, guys. And before I knew it, I had about 10 of these properties, had about 10 of them, right? And at the end of the day, those 10, the equity I had in those 10 properties was in that, 7-figure range. So that's how a guy goes from zero net worth to over $1 million in net worth by buying these single family homes, holding them, putting tenants in them, taking care of the tenants, buying them in good locations, and then they just appreciate in value over the years. And before I knew it, 20 years later, zero to over $1 million net worth just by doing that. So that was one of the asset classes that I used And because I get people a lot asking me, Richard, how do you do real estate? How do you do this? Pretty simple, guys. Get you an income, take that income, right? Live on 50% of the income, take the other 50% and save it till you have enough to put a down payment on a piece of real estate that you can put a tenant in. And then you just rinse and repeat. Every 2 years, you duplicate that process. But you're never going to get there unless you got income, right? You got to have income. That's the key, guys. I'm not saying you got to go work for somebody, but you got to create income from something, right? In order to then do what? Live on half of what you make. So if you're making $5,000 a month, your goal should be living on $2,500, and then you take $2,500 and store to the side until you have enough to put a down payment on a single family or a duplex or a 3 or a 4 unit property. That's how you do it. It's that simple. There is no, oh, I don't have any money. How do I buy a fourplex with no money? No, that don't happen that way, guys. That's not how it happens. Now, I know guys on YouTube try to tell you that, but in the real world, that's not how it happens. In the real world, in order to buy a property, right, you're going to have to get some money from somewhere. More times than not, no one is going to say, well, okay, I own a property free and clear. I don't want any money up front. I'll just let you buy the property and you don't pay me nothing up front and just pay me a check. That doesn't happen that often, guys, right? That doesn't happen often. The way it normally works is you identify a property. There's going to be a seller of that property. You're the buyer. That seller is going to want their money. Now, you can come in your pocket and pay them, cash out on the property, or you can go to a bank and get 80% of the money and you come in with 20% of the money. That's a normal real estate transaction, 1 to 4 family dwellings. That's the normal way you buy real estate, guys. Not this, oh, I don't got no money. Okay, I can do this and do that. No. You got to have some money and you got to have decent credit, because most of us can't reach in our pocket and pull out a check where we can just write a check and pay a property off in full or buy it cash. Most of us don't have the ability to do that. So we're going to have to go to a bank. We're going to have to go to a bank to get some money, or we're going to have to go to a lender. And most of those lenders, they're going to want to make sure the person they're lending their money to is credible, has a history of paying their bills. So you got to have decent credit, man. You got to have an income, proof of income, 2 years worth, and verifiable proof that you're currently employed or making money from somewhere. You got to have documentation on that. And then you got to have a decent credit score. You got those 2 things, man. You can buy real estate, and then you just got to be patient. You got to buy one at a time. Most of us got to buy one at a time. Now, there are rare people out there that can go buy 5 and 6 properties at one time, and they're fortunate, and that's great. But that wasn't my situation. My situation was I barely had enough money to get into the first property. So I had to wait 2 years. I had to earn, store my money for 2 years, and then boom, go get the next property. Plus, I used the equity in my other properties in order to fund the down payment for new properties. That's what I would do. I would take the equity from my existing properties, and then I would fund the down payment for a new property. And I just rinse and repeat it. And then that just built my real estate business for me. Okay, let's move on to stock market and what I basically did in the stock market. So in the stock market, I just started out with taking a small amount of my money out of my salary every 2 weeks, and I started investing in my company-sponsored 401k program. That's how I got started, guys. That simple. I knew nothing about the stock market, nothing. But I knew there were people that worked with me that would talk about this 401k thing, and how the company was incentivizing them to participate in it. And they do that through what they call a company match. So if I were to put in 6% of my paycheck every two weeks, then they would match that 6% up to 4%. I was like, okay, that's a fair deal. You mean to tell me I can save for my future and you are willing to match it up to a certain percentage or a certain dollar amount? Yeah. So I decided to jump on in. Didn't know nothing about the stock market, but I didn't let that stop me, because I understood there are people who are already doing it who have been successful at it. So maybe I should try it. And once I started doing that every couple of weeks, they would automatically take the money out of my check. Boom, they would put it into that 401k. And after that, I just started doing my own research, going online and reading what I could about mutual funds or index funds or ETFs, individual stocks. I just started reading up on how does this whole thing work? How does this stock market thing work? I wasn't looking to be an expert. I was just trying to get some general knowledge to understand where was I putting my money and how that would equate to my money growing. Because I didn't understand the stock market. I was like, well, why would I put my money there? And I go look at it next week and I put $1,000 in. Now it's worth $850. Looks like I just lost 150. Not necessarily, right? So I started doing my research and learned the basics. And through that, it allowed me to continue investing in the stock market. And every time I got a raise, I would just up the amount of money that I was contributing. And from the 401k, I decided, okay, let me open up a Roth IRA. So I did that, started funding that Roth IRA. Then I opened up a taxable brokerage account, and that's when things kind of opened up for me. But I'm still a pretty simple investor, guys. I have 3 or 4 big investments that I invest my money into, right? An S&P 500 ETF, right? Because I got the broader stock market. 500 of the top companies in America are in that S&P 500. So that's where 50% of my money goes. And then 30% of my money goes into what I call a sector ETF, right? A core sector ETF. And all that is we got about 11, 12, 13 industries in our country, right? You got tech, healthcare, consumer discretionary, real estate, just to name a few, right? You got 11 or 12 or 13 of them. I like the tech industry, but instead of me trying to go out and pick individual tech companies, what do? I go find a tech ETF that has the top 30 to 40 tech companies already in the fund. So every time I put my 30% in there, it's split up between those 30 to 40 tech companies. So that's where 30% of my money goes. And then the last 20% of my money goes into individual stocks and crypto. Individual stocks of companies that I know and I have some familiarity with, like Bank of America, Wells Fargo. I work for both of those organizations as a banker. So I'm very comfortable with them. I know exactly what they're all about. I know how they make money. And I know that if I put money into their stock, they're going to pay me a dividend while I hold my money in their stock. And then hopefully, as time goes by, those companies get better and better and stronger and more profitable. Therefore, my investments get stronger and stronger and more profitable, right? And then obviously, crypto is the newest type of investment I've been making. But a small portion of my money goes there. So that's how I spend my dollar. Every dollar I put into the stock market, that's it, man. Pretty simple. 50% broad-based stock market ETF, 30% core sector ETF, and then the last 20% individual stocks and crypto. Simple. Simple. And I've done extremely well, guys, by doing that over the last 20 years, right? And then the last one, and then we're going to get into some questions, is a business. So for 25 years, I was a commercial banker. And one of my primary jobs as a commercial banker was to work with business owners, right? Work with business owners to grow their business. And the way we helped them grow their business was by providing them capital, right? So a business owner would come to us and say, hey, Richard, your bank, hey, I have this company and we're doing great, but we want to expand. We want to expand into another state and we need to build a building. We need to buy some inventory. We need to hire some people and we want a loan in order to do that. So we would analyze their company. We would talk to the owners and then we would extend them a credit facility so that they could fund that expansion through debt. So I worked with a lot of business owners. Small businesses, medium-sized businesses, large businesses, work with them, right? And I did a lot of real estate financing. So business owner would come to us and say, hey, looking to do a 50,000 square foot building. Will you guys lend us the money to do it? We would analyze the project. We would lend them the money. We would monitor the construction. all of that good stuff, right? So I did all of that. I worked with a lot of business owners. But in that time, as I was working with those business owners, I always knew in my mind, I said, you know something? When I get out of this banking thing, I want to start my own business, right? I want to start my own business because I believe I have an opportunity to do something special in my own business. So when I left banking in the end of 2019, going into 2020, I created RF Financial Consulting. And inside of RF Financial Consulting is the YouTube channel, it's affiliate marketing, it's mentoring and coaching, and soon to be digital products. So I got this company that I created, and I have all of these arms, these streams of income running through that company, right? And that's RF Financial Consulting. And that company, in a 2-year period, has produced more income for me than probably in 10 years as a banker. Not my whole 25 years as a banker, but in the 10 years as a banker, in 2 years, I've made more money in my own business. And the reason I tell you guys that is because you can do the same thing. If you got a skill set, right? If you got a skill set, you can take that skill set and turn it into a business. I had a skill set. I was a commercial banker for 25 years, right? I just took that knowledge and I figured out a way to share that information with people through this YouTube channel, through other social media platforms. And guess what? By sharing that information, I've created income streams. So all I'm telling you guys is those are the big three: real estate, stock market, and a business. Again, more asset classes than that, but they're the three that I like and I enjoy. So hopefully that's helpful, guys. Now let's dive into some questions. Now, what I will tell you, we're going to run this live for probably an hour or so, may go a little longer than an hour, depending upon what type of participation we got. We're almost up to 400 people in the chat right now. We'll probably get up to about 800, maybe even 1,000 in the chat, guys. So if you have questions and you want them answered, the best way to get yourself to the top of the queue is through Super Chat. That's the best way, because like I said, when we get up to 800,000 people in the live, a lot of questions are coming, and the ones that pop up are going to be the super chats that I see, and those are going to take priority. So if you want a question answered, use the super chat feature. All right, well, let's get going because I already got a couple super chats. Let's see. Let me go make sure we start right here and get that first super chat. We're going to go right here. Let's see. That comes from Debt Free Dad. Thanks for the gems of financial education. I appreciate your content. Do you use I-bonds? I do not use I-bonds, but that doesn't mean I-bonds aren't a great investment for the right investor. For me and what I do, it's not the appropriate investment. Like I said, I'm pretty simple and streamlined on the investments that I use. Like I said, I use that broad-based stock market ETF, like an S&P or a total stock market. That's where 50% of my money goes. And then I use a sector, a core sector specific ETF that I put 30% of my money in, and then individual stocks and crypto for the last 20. So I-bonds don't fall into that for me, but that doesn't mean it's not the appropriate investment for you, Debt-Free Dad, and anybody else that's in the chat. I would just say, do your homework. Make sure you know what you're getting yourself into. Make sure you know all the do's and don'ts of these I-bonds. And then if it fits your financial plan, go for it. So hopefully that helps, Debt-Free Dad. Let me see if I missed any other ones. Let me see what I got here. I think I got another one here. Here we go. Keith Wright. When you buy real estate, do you get a FHA loan? That's a good question, Keith Wright. When I originally started buying real estate, right? When I bought my first single family home, I used the FHA loan to do that. Now, of course, I had to live in that home, which I was okay with, because at the time when I bought the home, I was 26 years old and I wasn't ready to rent the property out, right? My goal was, why don't I secure a single family, live in it for 2 years, build up me some equity in the house, in the property, build up some equity. And then in 2 years, once I build up some equity, I'll go ahead and put an equity line on the house, a second mortgage line of credit. And then I can tap into that equity from that line of credit to put down a down payment on my second single family. And that's what I did. So I took the first single family, purchased it using the FHA loan, which is that first time home buyers, where I believe it was 3.5% down, right? I lived in that house for 2 years, took all the equity out of it, purchased my second house. Now I moved into the second house and then I put a tenant in that first house. And that's how I started. Now I didn't use FHA loans anymore after that, but I did use the FHA loan program for my first single family home. So hopefully, Keith, that answered your question. Let's see what else we got here. Like I said, guys, any other super chats coming through, they take precedence. So let's see what else we got here. Let's see here. The Freedom Chaser. Hey, Richard, I love money and learning about finances. I am considering a career in banking. How do you feel about banking as a career, and can you make good money in it? Absolutely, man. I was in banking for 25 years, and I would say probably my first 10 years, I was just climbing the ranks, right? I was just climbing the ranks, and I was making decent money, right? But by the time I hit that 10th year, and again, this is just my path I took. Your path could be totally different. But by the time I hit my 10th year, I was making six-figure money, right? So from my 10th year to my 15th year, my 10th year to my 25th year, I made a good six figures every year, right? But it took me about 10 years to get myself to climb up the ladder to get there. My point, but better than just making the income, the knowledge is really what I got from it. All that knowledge that I learned about our financial system and about the banking system helped me create my company, RF Financial Consulting. But like I said, in 2 years, I made more money in 2 years in my own business from that knowledge I learned from banking than I made probably in my last 10 years as a banker. It's that simple. So for me, I think banking was a good career because it just taught me so much about money. It taught me so much about personal finance. It taught me so much about real estate lending and how to leverage money. And it taught me a lot about businesses, how to scale a business, how to fund a business through debt, that kind of stuff. So hopefully that answered your question. Let me see what we got here. We got another super chat from Keith Wright. When you buy new property, how much do you usually put down? I'm pretty sure that's what you meant, Keith. For me, typically, and again, all I buy is 1 to 4 family dwellings, right? So residential real estate. I don't buy commercial. And normally, in my situation, I put down 20% across the board. Since the very first property, like I said, that FHA property, that FHA loan I did on that first property, I put down 3.5%. After that, though, I put down 20%. Now, I chose to put down the full 20%. I could have found loans that let me put down 10% and stuff like that. But I chose the 20% because I wanted to have enough skin in the game so that my lender knew I was serious. Because, see, I knew I was going to be coming back to these lenders time and time again to borrow money. And I didn't want them to think, this guy wants to put 10% in the deal. He really don't got no skin in the game. Now, I'm not saying you have to put 20% in, but that's what I felt comfortable doing because I knew as a banker, remember, I know how these lenders think. I wanted the bank to feel comfortable that I had some skin in the game. So 20% for me, but certainly there are other lending programs out there that don't require 20%. You just got to go find them. All right, let's go. Rick Webster. Appreciate the super chat. Thank you, man. What's your take on building wealth from Section 8 homes? Another great question, man. You guys on fire tonight when it comes to the real estate questions. Well, here's the deal. Section 8 basically is a government program that gives vouchers to tenants, right? And why is that a good thing for the landlord, right? The investor, because they got a guarantee. They get guaranteed money for their property. Downside of that is typically with Section 8, they're in neighborhoods in areas that are not the most desirable, And I'm just giving you my opinion, guys. I'm not saying in all across the board, but in my experience where I live, most Section 8 properties are in less desirable markets, less desirable areas. So therefore, it affects the appreciation of the property. Like I said, for me, the appreciation is more important than the cash flow. Now, if the cash flow is more important to you and you're not really worried about the property increasing in value, you just want the cash flow to live on, then Section 8 would be great because you're going to get a guaranteed stream of income, guaranteed for 1 year or however long the Section 8 voucher is good for. You're going to get that guaranteed stream of income coming in, and you ain't got to worry about your tenant trying to skip town on you because you're going to get the income from the voucher, right? So you're going to get that steady stream of income. Also, one of the downsides is typically Section 8 properties are, hard lived in properties. People live hard in those properties, right? So you're going to have more repair and maintenance, in my experience, because typically Section 8, not all everybody on Section 8 does this, guys. I'm just giving you my opinion. They do tend to damage the properties. So there is a higher level of repair and maintenance a lot of times with Section 8 properties. So cash flow, yes. I think if you get enough of them, you can get good cash flow from them. I don't think you get the appreciation you need, though, in order to really build wealth, because most of those Section 8 properties, like I said, are going to be in less desirable areas. People are not going to pay top dollar for properties in not desirable areas. It's just not. They're going to pay top dollar for properties in desirable areas. So you either, you get the cash flow, or, you take, I took the appreciation route. I wasn't concerned about the cash flow to live on. I wanted the cash flow so it could take care of the property. And I didn't take any money out of my pocket, but really I was looking for that net worth jump. I wanted to buy a property, hold it for 5 years, and, get me a 20, 30% gain in value over that 5 years. That's what I was more looking for, to build my net worth faster, right? Because I already had a good job. I wasn't really concerned with the income. I wanted the net worth gain. So, if you can get both, great. But then you got to choose. But in most cases, you get one or the other. So you got to kind of choose. So hopefully that answered your question, Ricky. Let's go. Let me see. I think I got another one from Keith here. Keith Wright. Put down. Yeah, 20% down. Yeah, Keith. So if the property is a $400,000 property, right? 5-to-1 leverage, right? That's the technique I use, 5-to-1 leverage. I put 20% down. So if it's a $400,000 property, I put 80% of my money down. Then I go to the bank and borrow $320. So I got $80,000 of my money in the deal, but I control a $400,000 asset. That's why real estate's so powerful, man. I can put 80 grand in the deal, 20% in the deal, and control 100% of the property. Go to the bank, get the other 80% from the bank. So yeah, 20% was my standard that I would put down. I wouldn't put down more than 20% though. I would only put down the 20% so I could use that 5-to-1 leverage technique, which worked very well for me. So hopefully that answered your question, Keith. Let's see here. We got Travis Tolliver. Appreciate the super chat, Travis. Your thoughts on selling off a 401k and putting the money in the index life insurance contract? Man, listen, no, that's a terrible idea. And anybody that's telling you that's a good idea, listen, man, that's a terrible idea. And again, guys, this is just my opinion. It's your financial journey. You do whatever you want to do. But that's a terrible idea. Why in the world would you take 401k money, which is pre-taxed, right? So in order to take the money out of there, if you're not 59 and a half, in order to take the money out of there, you're going to get penalized, right? You're going to get penalized. First of all, you're going to get hit with a 10% penalty for taking it out early. Then you're going to get hit with ordinary income tax, whatever your tax bracket is. You're going to get that on piled on top. And then you want to move it to something that the fees in these life insurance, this index life insurance contract, the fees in those contracts, man, are going to eat away at any gain, in my opinion, that you can get, right? It's not going to outperform an S&P 500 ETF or index fund. It's not. It's not going to outperform a good broad-based diversified mutual fund, right? Most of these life insurance things that they're telling you you're going to get listen, man, most of those are, most of your gain is eaten up by the fees, man. Now, I'm not saying in all cases. There are some cases where these types of insurance policies make sense. But for most of us that are trying to build wealth, in my opinion, it don't make any sense. What is the purpose of life insurance, right? The purpose of life insurance is to protect your beneficiaries in the event you passed away, right? I mean, all this stuff about, oh yeah, you can get this life insurance policy and you can overfund it and borrow against it and you never pay. Listen, man, that's not really the purpose of life insurance. The purpose of life insurance is to protect your beneficiaries in the event you were taken away from this place and your income is gone now, right? That's really the purpose of it. If I'm making $100,000 a year and I'm the breadwinner for my family, and I die, and my family is left there with no income, they go from 100K income to nothing. That's where the insurance comes in to make them whole. And the typical rule of thumb is you get enough insurance that's like 25 times your income, right? Somewhere in that neighborhood. It doesn't have to be exactly that high, but somewhere like that. But at least when you pass, then that big lump sum goes to your family or your beneficiaries, and they don't have to give up the lifestyle that they had when you were living, right? That's life insurance. All this stuff about put money in it for investments. And listen, man, they're not going to outperform an S&P 500. I'm telling you, it's not going to do it. It's not going to outperform the S&P 500, in my opinion, right? Now, if you're somebody that has a complex financial statement where you got a lot of assets and you're trying to buy life insurance so that they can pay the taxes and all these assets can pass, that's different. But if you're just a regular person out here trying to build wealth, you still in the building stage of wealth, my recommendation is to stay away from them. So hopefully that answered your question, Travis. All right, I think I got another super chat from Andrew. Super chat from Andrew, but I don't see a message, Andrew. I appreciate the super chat, but it says your message is retracted. So you might want to, I'm not sure if you wanted a question answered, but I appreciate the super chat. So let's move on. Frank E. I automatically invest $10 daily through Robinhood. Any pros and cons? I'm not familiar with using Webull. Robinhood and Webull pretty much the same thing, right? You can do fractional share trading. You can do automated investing, automatic investing, whereby you set it up and then they just automatically invest the money for you in whatever you told them to invest it in. Pretty similar, right? They're both self-directed brokerage apps. Pros and cons, I mean, the con is you can't buy index funds, right? Through these self-directed apps. You can't do index funds. You can do ETFs, you can do individual stocks, and you can do some cryptos, but you can't really do index funds. You can't do mutual funds. There are certain investments you can't do on those self-directed brokerage apps. But like I said, though, guys, for the normal, everyday person just trying to build wealth, not trying to be some expert, Webull or Robinhood is all you really need. Because you should, in my opinion, you should 2 to 3 investments. Broad-based stock market ETF, like I said, S&P or total. Maybe you do a sector, a core sector ETF. Maybe you like an industry. Maybe you like healthcare. But instead of you trying to go out and pick healthcare companies on your own, you just go buy your healthcare ETF that already has the top 30, 40 healthcare companies already in it, right? That's all you need. And then you get your 2 or 3 little individual stocks of companies that you use, that you like, and you believe will be here tomorrow. That's the investments, guys. I don't know why, for some reason, we think it has to be 15, 20 things and all this. No, You don't want to be the expert. You want to remove yourself from having to be the expert. You want the ETFs to be the expert, right? You want Vanguard S&P 500 ETF or Fidelity Index 500, or you want them to be the expert. You want them. The S&P 500 index is the expert, not you. You don't want to be the expert, right? We want to remove ourselves from trying to be the expert. So in my opinion, Robinhood or Webull, obviously I'm a Webull proponent because that's what I use. I don't use Robinhood. I don't know any, you know, a lot of pros and cons of Robinhood because I don't use Robinhood, right? I use Webull. And if, again, don't forget that link down in the description box for that Webull. They're going to give you up to 12 free stocks, man. So go open that new Webull account today. Go get that free stock. Go get that free money. Link down in the description. All right, let's move on. I hope that answers your question, Frank. We got Zach. Hey, Richard, I'm a truck driver, have a RV storage lot, one rental property, invest 1K into the S&P 500, Roth IRA monthly. Tips for becoming financially free. You know something, Zach? You the man. You are the man. Love it, man. Love, love, love it. Now, here's the next step, though. Here's where you take it to the next level. You got to start thinking about, okay, I'm at this certain age right now. When do I want to stop driving these trucks? Better yet, not that I have to stop driving trucks, but when do I want to have the option to not have to drive these trucks anymore? When do I want to have that option? Is it 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? Only you can answer that, right? But see, in order to know what financial freedom is to you, you got to think about it. So you got to think about, what does financial freedom really mean to be? And not just think about being on the beach somewhere and running, white sand through your toes. Not that kind of thinking about it. What I'm thinking about is how much income do I need coming in from my assets, my investments? How much income do I need those investments to generate for me in order for me to be able to take care of myself and own what? 100% of my time and control my own financial destiny. See, that's the next step, man. Just investing is not good enough if you don't know why you're investing. You got to have a reason to be in doing all of this. There has to be a reason. And you need to figure out what that reason is, right? So 3 things I tell people to think about when they're starting to think about, what does financial freedom mean to me? You got to have 3 things in nailed down. You got to have a target date, right? You got to have a target amount, and you got to have a target net worth. Those are the 3 things you need to get to financial freedom, man, along with your investing plan, along with discipline, consistency, and patience, right? But you need the end game. You got to know what your end game is. So let me give you a quick example. This is how I did my end game. So I was 30 years old, and I said, okay, I'm going to grind for 20 years. I'm not saying, Zach, you got to grind for 20 years. I'm just telling you what my plan was. My plan was at 30 years old, I said, I'm going to grind for 20 years. At 50, I want the choice to be able to walk away from this banking thing and be able to support myself through my assets. That was my target date. See, I sat down and specifically told myself what my target date was. So now I knew psychologically up here, I knew, okay, Richard, you got 20 years, you got to grind. So that's number 1. The second thing I had to decide was, what's my target amount? So at 50 years old, I had to say to myself, at 50, how much income, man, do you need coming in from your assets to be able to take care of you and live a comfortable lifestyle? I didn't say I need to buy a big yacht, be flying around on private jet. No. I said, how much money do you need to live comfortable and live the lifestyle you want to live? And for me, that was 10 grand a month. So I said, at 50 years old, I want my assets producing $10,000 a month. And that will give me the option, if I want to walk away from banking. So I got my target date. I got my target amount. Target date, 50 years old. Target amount, 10 grand a month. Now the last piece of the puzzle is my target net worth. So in order to generate $10,000 per month in passive income, what do I need to build my net worth to, or my assets to, over the next 20 years to produce $10,000 a month in income? So I used a simple little trick called the rule of 200. Simple little technique. So you take $10,000, because that's my target amount that I need my assets to generate. You take that target amount, which is $10,000, you times it by 200. That's $2 million. Okay, now it's making sense. So my target date, 50 years old, 20 years. My target amount is 10 grand. My target net worth needs to be $2 million so that I can generate the 10 grand. So I need to build my assets to $2 million. I build my assets to $2 million. I take 6% conservative rate of return on that $2 million, right? That generates $120,000 a year in passive income. Divided by 12, there's my $10,000 a month. So now over the next 20 years, I'm going to take every free nickel I have, I'm going to invest it in the stock market and in real estate. Stock market, real estate for the next 20 years to do what? Get my net worth to $2 million. Once I get my net worth to $2 million, I know conservatively at a 6% rate of return, I should be able to generate about $120,000 a year in passive income. Divided by 12, boom, there's my 10 grand a month. That's how specific you got to get, Zach, if you really want to get this financial freedom thing knocked out. You got to get that specific, because just investing to be investing with no, you don't know what you're trying to get accomplished, that's not going to last long, because the first time you hit adversity, first time you hit a bump in the road, first time you fall down, you may not get back up because you don't have a why. You don't have a reason to get back up. You got to have a reason. Or when times get tough, we'll quit. That's just how we're wired as human beings, man. So I hope that answers your question, Zach. So let's move on. Let's see what else we got here. Shoot. I know I got another super chat somewhere. I just saw it, but I can't get this thing. Let me see. Oh, here we go. Kenneth Lopez. Thank you for the super chat, man. I appreciate it. Age 50, buy commercial, real or 4 units or lower. I can buy 12 units under 700 out of state. Thoughts? Well, Kenneth, that depends on what your financial goals are. What are you trying to get accomplished with buying this real estate? What are you trying to get accomplished, man? I keep telling you guys, you got to have an end game. You got to know the reason you're doing all of this, or it ain't going to make sense to you. You got to know what you're doing. You got to know, are you trying to create passive income at some point in the future through what? Units, right? Through real estate? If that's the key, if that's what you're trying to get accomplished, then what I would be thinking about is okay, again, target date, target amount, target net worth. Those are the 3 things I should be thinking about. I don't care what asset you're using to build wealth. You got to have those 3 things in mind. And you got to know. So if you're saying, hey, I want $20,000 a month coming in, then you already know you need to have about $4 million in real estate. Right? You need to have $4 million in real estate, man. If you want to have at least $20,000 a month coming in and income from that real estate, you need to build that real estate portfolio to what? About $4 million. Again, 6% conservative interest rate on $4 million is what? $240,000 a year divided by 12 is what? $20,000 a month. So that's the way I would be thinking. And then if you know you need to get to 4 million, maybe you do it this way. Maybe you say, okay, because I know you said age 50, buy commercial, real, or 4 units. That's on you, man. Whether you buy commercial or whether you buy residential. If it's me, I stick with residential, because I'm telling you, when times get tough in this country and we hit a brick wall in our economy, the first type of real estate that's going to fail is commercial real estate. It just is. Because all of these guys who got their own plumbing business, their own pool business, all of those guys are going to go right to their house and run their business out of their house, and they're just going to default on their leases. When times, think about 2008. Go back to 2008. Think about what happened, right? Commercial real estate got hit the worst. Because why? Residential real estate, people need somewhere to live, man. As long as you're willing to reduce your rent, I don't care what the economy is. If you're able to reduce that rent where people can afford to live in there, you're going to always have a tenant, man. Not with commercial. People will leave commercial quick. Because guess what, guys? In our country, most of the business owners are what? Small business owners, not big corporations. Let me tell you, when I was a commercial banker back in 2008, you know who defaulted on their leases the most? Yeah, these big old gigantic commercial tenants, like just the big ones. I'm not gonna name any names in here, but they defaulted on their leases, and guess what? They said sue us. We'll see you in court. So all I'm telling you, man, is go 1 to 4 family, in my opinion, unless you just gotta have commercial. And what you want to do is you want to get enough doors that can create $4 million worth of real estate. And then those $4 million in residential properties should be able to generate about a 6% net income to you, which is that 6% rate of return, which again is that 240,000 divided by 12, 20,000 a month. So figure out what your target amount is, figure out what your target net worth is, and then figure out what your target date is. And then you can use real estate. I would say consider 1 to 4 family, or what we call 5 units or more, which is considered commercial, but it's still residential units, but it's just considered commercial because it's more than 5 units. That's what I would stick to, because people always need somewhere to live. So I hope that helped, Keith. I'm sorry, Kenneth. All right, let's see what else we got here. I got some more super chats. I just want to make sure I ain't missing any. Okay, we got Kenneth, and then we got SESE79. I appreciate the super chat. You didn't have a question, but certainly appreciate the super chat. What else we got here? No, I saw some more in here. Let me make sure I haven't missed anybody. So many of these things coming through, guys. So I apologize. Hang in there with me. Let's see here. Here we go. Keith Wright has another one. Thanks, Keith, for the super chat. Is there a benefit from buying Vanguard S&P 500 than any other one? I purchased S&P 500 SoFi version. Listen, man, here's the test. So any S&P 500 index, fund, or ETF is doing what? Should be doing what? It should be tracking the S&P 500 index. So how do I decide which one I want to go with? Well, number one, I go to the S&P 500 index and see what the last 10-year return on average was for my S&P 500 index, which is what the S&P 500 funds are tracking, right? So that's number one. Let's say the S&P 500 index over a 10-year period had an ROI of 10%. Let's just hypothetically say that. So now I go to Vanguard and I look at Vanguard's S&P 500 ETF or index fund, and over that same 10-year period, what was their ROI? Guess what? It should be 10, right? Or very close to 10, or even better than 10. So that's really the way I gauge. I look at the S&P 500 index, see what my ROI was over the last 10 years on average. I take that percentage, and then I go look at several different S&P 500 ETFs or index funds by different companies, and that's what I look for. So I look for performance. Every S&P 500 ETF or index fund should be performing exactly where the S&P 500 index is performing, because that's what they're tracking, right? Now, the next thing I look at is fees, right? Because fees are different, right? I like index funds or ETFs over mutual funds because mutual funds are actively managed. You pay more fees because human beings are picking, right? They're picking the investments. That's what mutual funds. With ETFs and index funds, it's passively managed. Basically a computer algorithm. Really, it's nothing to pick because you're tracking an index or you're tracking a sector. So you should have lower fees, right? So that's what you want to look at. You want to look at performance, past performance, and the benchmark is what? Whatever index you're tracking. That's the benchmark, right? So performance, and then you want to look at fees, right? You want to look at what type of fees they're going to charge you. And that's where when I did my research, I looked at Vanguard, I looked at Fidelity. I looked at Charles Schwab, but I ultimately settled on Vanguard because one, I like Vanguard because they're a pioneer in the index fund, mutual fund space. They're one of the only true mutual fund companies out there, right? So I like that. I like that history. I also like because their fees were competitive. They didn't have the lowest fees, but they were very competitive with Charles Schwab and um, Fidelity, right? But what I really liked was the customer service they provided, right? They provided top level customer service. At least when I signed up and got all my, they were very helpful. So I just like Vanguard. The performance was there. The fees was pretty much on par with the other two I looked at. But what really sold it for me was just the customer service. So that's where I went with, and I don't regret it. I've had a great run with Vanguard, and they've done very well for me. So hopefully that answers your question, Keith. Let's see, we got here. Ricky Webster, appreciate the super chat, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Let's see here. Julius Crummer. Suggestions on real estate investments in Hawaii where the average beautiful home price is $700K, or would you risk buying subpar houses in the ghetto? Again, guys, it's just my opinion. Personally, if the cost to buy the type of real estate I want in the part of the United States I live in, if it's too expensive, then I'm probably going to look outside of my state, or I'm gonna probably look outside. I don't want to be an absentee landlord, but I understand if I can't afford to buy rental property there, then my second option is to buy rental property where I can't afford to buy. And there are some states that do have landlord friendly laws for landlords and are destination spots. Of course, nothing's like Hawaii, but the state I live in here in Florida, it's a destination spot, right? People are here. Tons of people travel here. They live here part time. Boom. And guess what? It's a landlord friendly state, and it's reasonable to buy real estate here. So you just got to figure out, am I okay with being an absentee landlord? And if you are, then find you a state that you like, that has the real estate prices that meet your budget. And then what I would do is I'd hire me a really good real estate agent in that location. I would hop on a plane. I'd go visit that location personally myself and spend a weekend or 3 or 4 days just with that real estate agent looking at properties. Now, if you want to buy in the ghetto in Hawaii, I didn't know Hawaii had a ghetto, but I guess it does. If you want to do that, you can. I mean, that's up to you. But just know there are going to be some higher level of concerns when it comes to the property. You're going to probably have, probably a little bit higher repair and maintenance. That's just the way it is. I'm not picking on any population of people. I'm just typically in less desirable areas, you don't really get any appreciation on the property, number one. So I'm not sure why you would, unless you're just seeking cash flow only. If you're not going to get any appreciation, why buy it? I might as well put my money in the stock market or put it in some other asset, a business or something else. I like, let me tell you something. Wealthy people either make their money in real estate or they hold their money in real estate. Why do they do that? Because they get preferential treatment when it comes to taxes. Somebody can buy $1 million piece of real estate, get rental income off that real estate. The rental income pays that real estate, puts money in that person's pocket. All right. Now, down the road, let's say 5 years down the road, that property is now worth $2 million. Right? They bought it for $1 million. Let's say it's worth $2 million. They can go get a loan on that property, pull, $600,000 worth of equity out, do whatever they want with it, use the rental income to pay that loan back. Never pay any capital gains and just continue doing that. And guess what? When they get ready to sell the property, guess what they can do? They can just 1031 exchange, roll it into another property, a like property, and keep kicking the can down the road and never pay taxes. That's what I'm trying to tell you, man. BBD. Buy, borrow, die. That's what rich people do with real estate. They They buy it, they borrow against it, and then they die. And they never pay taxes, never pay capital gains taxes on it at all. Now, their estate does at some point, I'm sure, but they don't. So figure out what you're really trying to accomplish with real estate, man. Are you looking for income? Are you looking for capital appreciation? Are you looking for both? And are you comfortable being an absentee landlord? If you can get comfortable with being an absentee landlord, there are many states out there that I would say could potentially, you could buy real estate in and do just as well, right? I don't know. Just saying, man. Hopefully that helped, Julius. Let's see what else we got. We got some more super chats here. Yeah, we do. Okay, we got one right here from Jay Woods. Hey, man, Jay, thank you, man, for the super chat. Very generous. I appreciate you. Let's see here. Richard, my brother, I just want to say thank you and give you your flowers. Been watching you for a while, and you have helped change my mindset and my financial situation. Keep me motivated. Team Weevil. Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Jay Woods, man. Y'all know, man, this is my purpose, man. This is my passion, is doing what? Spreading this financial gospel, man. That's what I do, and I'm going to continue to do it. And hey, man, I got one single focus: help as many people who want help get to financial freedom. Jay Woods, thank you, man. I appreciate you. Let's see what we got here. Got Keith Wright again. Thank you, Keith, man. Appreciate you. That's a great idea on real estate. Buy out of state. Salute. Absolutely, man. As long as you're okay, guys, with being an absentee landlord, don't be afraid to buy out of state, especially if the area of the country you live in is just too expensive to buy. That doesn't mean you can't get into real estate. You just got to be a little bit more due diligent. Never buy a piece of real estate that you don't physically put your feet on that ground. Forget that. Don't buy it. Go and look at that property and figure out what's going on in that neighborhood. Figure out what's going on in that community, because it's your property, right? It's your financial freedom. All right, let's keep moving. We got a lot of super chats, guys. So if you got a question, you got a super chat, man, in order to get in the queue. Let's see here. Greedy McMean. Appreciate the super chat. Does it make sense to have two index funds within the same sector with similar companies in their top 10, or should I have two index funds, different sector? I would go different sectors, right? So if I'm in tech, I don't need to go out and buy, let's say I got Vanguard Information Technology, VGT, right? Information Technology Tech Fund, right? 30 to 40 top information technology companies in it. Ain't no sense in me going getting, Invesco QQQ if it got the No, I would probably pick another sector. Why not do healthcare? Why not do consumer discretionary? Why not do energy? Why not do real estate, right? Why not do materials? Find another industry that you feel like, is an industry you like and that could grow over the next 10, 15 years and build your wealth, right? But I wouldn't have a VGT from Vanguard and then go get Invesco QQQ if they're similar. I wouldn't do that, but that's just me. Hopefully that answered your question. Andrew 803, appreciate the super chat. Thank you so much. I'm 38, retired, out of the Army, and I also received SSD. I have been buying VNQ, love VNQ, by the way, and VTI, love VTI, by the way, for my daughter custodial account. Would you say these are good buys? Again, guys, I always go back to what? What am I trying to accomplish? What am I trying to accomplish? Am I trying to get to a certain asset value by the time it's time for my daughter to go to college? And how many years is that? So for the next 10 years, I need to build this custodial account to a net worth of this in order to pay for her college 10 years from now. Then what you got to go look at is the investments that you're investing in. And you got to go look at their historical performance. You got to say, okay, I got a 10-year period. Let me go look at the last 10 years on VTI. Let me go look at the last 10 years on VNQ. Are they generating, do they have an ROI that's going to give me the return, the growth I need in order to build this asset to this dollar amount so I can pay for my child's college? That's what you got to do, right? We can't just invest in stuff just to invest in it. And I'm not saying that's what you're doing, Andrew. I'm just trying to make a point here. What I'm saying is know your end game. Know what you're trying to get accomplished with this investment. And then you go look at these investments and see what their historical track record is. If I need a 10% return, guys, to meet my net worth numbers over the next 10 years, if I need a 10% return and I got my money in an investment that historically has produced a 5% return, guess what? I ain't going to get there with that investment. History ain't going to lie, right? So you got to go align your investments with your goals, what you're trying to get accomplished. If what I need to accomplish requires me to have a 10% annualized return over the next 10 years, I better not be in investments that have historical 10-year annualized returns less than that. That's just me. So hopefully that helped, Andrew. Just look at the investments, look at what their returns are over the same time period. You need this money to be working for you and growing, and see if that makes sense, right? That's what you got to do. Nice little tool you can use. It's called calculator.net. They got nice financial calculators on there that you can do some future value of money scenarios, right? Go out there and check a look at that. They're free. They're right on the web, right? Just type in calculator.net and they're free. Go in there, boom, 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 play around with these financial calculators to kind of determine what you need to get done and what type of ROI you need in order to get it done. All right, so let's move on, guys. Let's see what we have here. Okay, we got Andrew taken care of. Looks like we got Keith Wright again. When you do rental property, do you go through realtor company or do you do it on your own? Well, for me, guys, what I do is with all these wonderful tools we have online right now, I do the preliminary checking myself. So I go on realtor.com, I'll go on Zillow, I'll go on Trula.com, I'll go on Redfin. And what I do is I go on those sites, they're free, right? I go in there and I specifically look for what I'm looking for. So if I'm looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath in Fort Myers, Florida, I want the house a 2015 build and newer. I want whatever I'm looking for, I can sort and filter to exactly what I'm looking for. Boom, hit the button. Let's say 30 properties come up that fit my criteria. So now I start looking at the pictures online of those 30 properties. I pick me 5 that I like. Boom, I email my real estate agent. Miss Real Estate Agent, I got these 3 to 5 properties I want to go see. Set up the showings. See, I use my real estate agent that way. Don't get me wrong. I take their professional advice and I take their professional opinion when it comes to me making offers and them writing a contract. But when I'm looking for my properties, I got too many options online that I can just jump in and narrow it down so I don't waste their time and they don't waste my time, or I don't waste my time. And then when I narrow down, I just send that information to my real estate agent. She sets up, and then boom, I go look at them. If I like them, we talk about what I should make an offer. Ultimately, it's my decision. She may recommend, hey, you should make an offer right here. I'd be like, I'm going lower than that. This is the offer you need to make. And that's how it rolls, man. It's my financial freedom. It's my property. It's my situation. I'm hiring this person to help me, but ultimately it's my decision. So yes, I do use a real estate agent because I need a real estate agent because they're the professionals. But I don't hand off that responsibility to make the decision. I make the decision. But I do that in concert with my real estate agent. I definitely recommend, man, get you a real estate agent to help you navigate this, Keith. Again, that's my advice. Certainly get your real estate agent, a good one that you click with, that they understand what you're trying to get. And when you get them, you got to sit down with that real estate agent and tell them what your expectations are. Tell them exactly what you're trying to accomplish, right? Like I said, do some homework on your own. You got a lot of financial tools online to be able to go look at these properties. If they're listed for sale, You go on these, boom, they're right there. So hopefully that helps. Mean as far as manage. Oh, okay. You're talking about property management companies. Gotcha. I don't use property management companies. I don't. Now, again, I'm not an absentee landlord either, though. All my properties are within 30 minutes where I live. So I can jump in the car and boom, I'm right there. And the properties that I buy are in desirable areas, really great communities and locations. So I don't have no problem tenants. I don't have problem tenants. Why? Because I will not buy a property that I won't live in myself. That's my criteria, guys. I will not buy a piece of real estate for investment purposes unless I'm willing to live in it. If I'm not willing to live in that property or that community, I don't buy it. Why do I do that? Because I want to attract tenants that are just like me financially, who take their financial obligations seriously, right? Also, what I typically do is I find somebody that falls in love with that rental property. So when it's time for me to sell it, they typically will buy it from me if they like the area. So property management companies for me, no. But for you, that's on you. You got to figure that out. Especially if you're an absentee landlord, you may want to get a property management company. Or if you got multiple properties, you may want to get I don't know. For me, though, I wanted to manage my own properties. And the way I reduced my need for a property manager is I bought in very good locations, right? And I pre-qualified all my tenants. I didn't put no Craigslist ads out. I went through a real estate company who actually marketed my property. We found tenants. We did background checks. We did employment verifications. We did credit checks. That's the way you got to do it, man. That reduces your risk of having problem tenants, right? So, but that's on you, man. Nothing wrong with property management companies, just not my thing. I'd rather manage my property on my own. Save that 8-10% that I'm paying some property management company. Not for me. All right, let's see. Any more super chats? Did I miss any? Let me make sure I didn't miss any super chats. And then we'll continue on. I don't think I did. I think I got them all. Yep. Got that one. Got that one. All right, guys, we probably got 15 minutes left. We're going to end the live at 7:30. So that's about 17 minutes. And then we're going to shut the live down. So if you got questions, again, super chat is your best course of action because you get all the way to the top of the queue. Let's see what else we got here. We got Kenneth. We answered his question. Who else? We got Keith. All right. We got Jay Woods. All right. We got Andrew. We got Keith. Keith again. Clarissa. My next plan is to place boxables on land and rent them out to students in Lubbock, Texas, who are enrolled to Texas Tech. Cheap land in Lubbock. Hey, if that's a great game plan, then go make it happen, Clarissa. You seem like you already have done some research and know the market pretty well. So, absolutely. No risk, no reward, guys. No risk, no reward. Now, I'm not saying go out there and take foolish risks. You can take some calculated risks, but no risk, no reward, right? We can't just be ultra conservative all the time and expect a big reward. You're going to have to put some risk in order to get that big reward, right? Now, it can be educated and calculated risk, but you're going to have to risk something in order to get something, right? So we got to risk something in order to get something. Dr. Joe Rockefeller, appreciate the super chat. Tesla split August 25th. I'm waiting on it. Come on, split. I got me some shares. I'm ready. It's a little too expensive for me to buy right now. Y'all know anything under $700 a share for Tesla, I'm buying. But right now it's a little pricey, so I'm good. I'm gonna wait for the split, and then immediately when it splits, I'm gonna buy a bunch of it and just hold it because I believe this one's a 3-to-1 split, if I'm not mistaken. I think so. Immediately once it splits, I'm gonna buy a truckload and just sit on it for 10 years, along with what I got now. So I like Tesla, man. I think Tesla is gonna be one of the great companies, man. I think they're gonna be one of the great companies, and I'm gonna make sure I'm on that journey with them. I believe in old Elon. He's a little quirky, but smart guy, man. Smart guy. So yeah, I'm all in on Tesla. That's gonna be a good one. All right, let's see. We got what? 15 minutes left in the chat, guys. So let me see if we got any more super chats. All right, let's see what we got coming in here. Yes, Tesla is the future for logistics. That's from Clarissa again. Can't pronounce your last name, Clarissa, but I think you're right. I think Tesla is going to be in the all type. Y'all know Tesla and all type. Well, not Tesla, but Elon Musk is in all type of stuff, right? So that guy's one of the you know how one or two people like that in a lifetime, and I think Elon's one of those people. Just vision, man, right? And not afraid to take risks. I keep telling you, not afraid to take risks. Smart guy now, but he takes some risks. He has taken some risks, and it's paid off for him. It's paid off for him. Let's see here. Looks like we got something else coming in here. Well, let me talk about this a little bit. So you know what's going on right now in the stock market. I think everybody we see. We've seen the recent rally, right? The rally has been over the last week or so, even with inflation numbers coming out at 8.5%. But it's kind of telling us inflation has kind of peaked. At least that's what we hope. But the market, they've already priced that in, man. These investors, like I said, 75% of the people that invest in the stock market are institutional investors. 25% of people like you and I, right? So those big institutional investors, they make their money by being in the market, man, right? So at some point they got to get back in. So what they do is this is my opinion, guys. I'm no expert here, but this is my opinion. I'm an expert at my own opinion. In my opinion, what they do is they say, well, okay, we got to get back in. So let's price in high inflation. Let's price in other factors, and then boom, let's start buying back in. And that's what they did. So when they started buying back in, what does that do to the stock market? Starts going back up again. Why? Because all this money is coming in, right? All this money is coming in and investing in companies. So the stock market is made up of what? Companies. That's it. Just companies. Small companies, medium-sized companies, big companies, all publicly traded companies, right? That's what the stock market is made up of. And people like you and I and institutional investors, we buy shares of those public companies, right? That's all the stock market is. So they've just priced in some of this bad news. So they're back in. Why? Because they have to. That's how they make money. They make money in the stock market, right? So that's what's going on right now with the stock market. Will it last? I don't know. I think you will see a sell-off. I think we've already hit the bottom. That's my thought process. Is we've already hit the bottom, right? The bottom is done. We're on the way back up. But that doesn't mean if we get bad news that these institutional investors haven't already priced into the market. If we get bad news that they haven't priced in, then yeah, you'll see a sell-off. So that's what's happening. You'll see a sell-off when bad news happens that they haven't priced in. You'll see a sell-off. But right now, I think it's great. I think things are going well. I don't think we're out of the woods. We're still in a bear market. We just got a bear market rally. I think we're probably 2024 before we see a full starting of a bull market. I think it'll be about 2024. And again, guys, this is my opinion. I could be absolutely wrong. I'm no financial analyst or anything like that. I'm just giving you my opinion. So my thing to tell you is to keep dollar cost averaging in, man. Keep investing every single week, every single month, man. Keep plowing away. Keep plowing away. Keep plowing away. Keep plowing away, man. You just got to keep doing that and have a long-term outlook, right? Trust the process. Tell me over the last 100 years when the stock market has never bounced back and got to all-time highs. Please, somebody in the comments, give me a 10-year block of time, a 10-year period where the stock market has been negative for 10 straight years. I don't know. Give me a block of time. So it's going to bounce back, man. You just got to be patient. You got to be consistent, and you got to be disciplined, right? You got to keep buying, dollar cost averaging in, and making sure your dollar cost averaging into the right investments. All right, we got some super chats, so let me get to those. Ah, dog it. Okay, here we go. I don't know why I keep doing that. Let me make sure I ain't missed nothing. Oh, here we go. The Inquisitive Prince. Appreciate the super chat. Thank you very much. Shout out, Rich. My ETFs you suggested are excellent. I did research on them. Tell everyone how fast Daryl Green was. Yeah, man. Woo. D Green was, I ain't never seen nothing like it, man. I ain't never seen anything like D Green. He was, you know something, I'm gonna tell you. There was only one other corner that I've ever seen, one other cornerback that I ever seen that was, in my opinion, better than D Green, and that was Prime. That was Deion Sanders. I think it's Deion Sanders, and I think it's Daryl Green. That's 1-2. So if I got an all-century team, right, on defense, all-century team, I got Prime on one side, I got Daryl Green on the other side. That's what I go with. So hopefully that answered your question, Inquisitive Prince. Let's see what we got here. We got Brandon Smith. Brandon, thank you so much for the super chat, man. I appreciate it. I'm 28, make 10 an hour. How I take my life to the next level? What you suggest? Okay, let me make sure I understand this. You're 28 years old. You're making $10 an hour, and you want to know how to get to the next level. First question I want to ask you is this: are you living on less than what you make? That's the key, man. Right? The key is you got to live on less than what you make. And then you got to take the difference and invest it. Now, if you're saying, Richard, the $10 an hour that I'm making, that's it, man. I'm scrapped. All my essential items take up that $10 an hour. My housing, my food, you know, my basics, they take up that $10 an hour. I have nothing left. Two choices. We got to increase our income, right? We got to find a career or a skill set that's going to pay us more than $10 an hour. That's the first option. Second option is, okay, maybe I stay on the job where I'm making the $10 an hour, but in my downtime, I gotta create a skill set that can pay me more. Because see, you guys, your number one tool to build wealth is what? Income. It's not knowledge, it's income. Now, knowledge can get you income if you take action and you take that knowledge and turn it into dollars. You can get, yeah. But just because you got knowledge, I know a lot of people with knowledge ain't got no money. They got no money. Why? Because they couldn't take that knowledge and turn it into money and cash. So all I'm telling you is, if you're not happy where you're at financially, look at your income. Then look at what you're doing with that income. See, that's where a lot of people struggle with, what they're doing with the income. So $10 an hour, I don't know, man. That doesn't seem like a lot to me, but I don't know your situation. My thing I would advise you to do is get the skill set up, right? Get your skill set up. Find something that you can learn how to do that's going to pay you more than $10 an hour. There's a lot of things out there. I got a video that I can send you, man, that gives 10 ways to make money, right? No college education, no money, right? But you got to be willing to do it. See, some people, no, I ain't going to do that. I'm not going to start no pressure washing business. I'm not going to pressure wash. I'm not going to do that. Okay, then don't do it. Stay where you at. See, that's the thing, man. Income. We got to figure out to make more income. And Brandon, for you, I don't know your full financial situation, so I don't want to, speak out of turn here, but it seems to me the income needs to go up. You got to get that income up, man. $10 an hour is not a lot of money. I don't know what your circumstances in life is, but all I'm telling you, if you want to build wealth, you got to get that income up. You got to figure out a way to get that income up. And then when you get it up, you got to live on 50% of it. So if I get that $10 to $20 an hour, and I learn how to live on $10 an hour, I'm making $20 an hour, but I'm living on 10. And then I'm gonna take that other 10, and guess what I'm gonna do with it? Boom! I'm gonna go into the stock market and buy me an S&P 500 ETF, and I'm gonna start taking that $10 an hour. Boom! Every week, every 2 weeks, every month, whenever I get paid, I'm gonna take that $10 an hour, and I'm gonna be investing it into my long-term future. And then guess what I'm gonna continue doing? Instead of making $20 an hour, I got to figure out how do I get my skill set up so I can make $40 an hour. See, all along, I'm trying to level up that skill set, right? But I'm going to keep my expenses low. So I'm going to level up that skill set to 20, I'm going to live on 10. I'm going to level up that skill set to 30, I'm going to live on 15. I'm going to level up that skill set to, you know what I mean? I'm just going to keep leveling up. I'm going to keep bumping the lifestyle a little bit. But I always want to live on at least 50% or less, 50% or less what I make. If you do that and you do it consistent for 10 years, you'll be in good shape, man. But you got to work on that income, brother. You got to work on that income. You got to get that income up because $10 an hour, I'm not saying, again, in the world I live in, it's not a lot of money. So hopefully that answered your question, Brandon. And also, man, shoot me a DM on Instagram. Richard Fain 28. Watch out for all the scammers over there too. Because they'll be in your DMs in a heartbeat. As soon as you follow me, they in your DMs, faking like they me. So be careful with the scammers. But DM me, man, and let's chop it up. Darius, let me see what we got. Darius, oh shoot. Let me get back down here. I saw one from Darius Day. Darius Day. Thank you for the super chat, man. Thank you. Are you a fan of real estate investment trusts? How much would you invest in it percentage-wise, if so? So real estate investment trusts or REITs. I like REITs. But for me, the rate of return on REITs, I just ain't enough for me, right? I'd rather be in an S&P 500 ETF where I can get that 8 to 10% return annualized over a 10, 15-year period. That's where I want to be. REITs, I don't know, man. If I'm, here's what I always say. If I got $1 million and I'm trying to get me 4-5% return on that $1 million, keep it kind of safe, not, don't want to be too aggressive, then a REIT is a good place to put it, right? Or if I want to hedge, maybe I got some more aggressive investments over here, crypto, some, individual stocks, and I want to hedge and put some of my money in something a little safer, then I might go to a REIT. Vanguard has a pretty good one, though. It's called Vanguard Real Estate ETF. It's VNQ. So if you want to check out a good REIT, go check that one out. But nothing wrong with that. Answer your question, Darius. Nothing wrong with REITs. Just find the right one, man, because there's a lot of them out there that don't perform very well. Check out that Vanguard Real Estate ETF. The ticker symbol is VNQ. Go check that one out. You might like it. Hopefully that answered your question. See what we got here. Dre Biz, appreciate the super chat. The rich dad from the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Hey, man, appreciate you, man. That's one of my guys, Robert Kiyosaki. So, I learned a lot from that book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Just a lot about mindset, a lot about OPM, a lot about leveraging money, that kind of thing. So that book was pretty instrumental, man. That was pretty instrumental in my early days in real estate. So definitely recommend that book to any of you guys out there who want to learn about leveraging. I don't know why I keep doing this. Learn about leveraging. Go get that Rich Dad, Poor Dad. All right, guys. I think we are at the end of the live. We've been on here about an hour and a half. We got 629 people in the chat. And I appreciate y'all, man, stopping in, checking in. It's been a quick 90 minutes, man. It just boom, go by so quick. But I appreciate all y'all, man. I appreciate my subscribers. I appreciate the people who follow me on YouTube and on Instagram. You guys have changed my life. So thank you. I appreciate you. And I'm gonna keep putting this financial gospel out there, man. So hopefully you guys will keep watching. Remember, down there in the description box, man, is that Weeble offer up to 12 free stocks. So if you're interested in that, check it out, man. Go get that free money. And till the next one, man, you guys keep chasing your greatness. Never stop believing in yourself. And I'm going to catch you guys on the next live and on the next video. Peace.